Well, hello from Breakfast with the Stars at Epsom, where we've just seen several key classic contenders in action on the downs. Lee Mottershead and Mark Scully join me to look ahead to the Investec Derby. And Lee, first point is it looks like it's going to be a pretty big field.
Yeah, bumper field this year. Could have 3 full supplementary entries on Monday. Already 22 in the race. I'm not sure we're going to get quite a maximum 20 on a field, but certainly quality and quantity this year.
And Mark, who's going to go off favourite?
Very hard to tell. I think there'll probably be some support come back for Aidan O'Brien with US Army Ranger. He continues to be positive about the chances of that, and I think come the day that could have an effect. But there's momentum behind Ulysses, there's some momentum behind Wings of Desire, so it's very, very hard to tell at this stage. It'll be fascinating to see what actually happens.
Well, we saw several of the key contenders in action, and you can watch the gallops elsewhere on Racing Post TV. Lee, which horse impressed you most this morning?
The one I was impressed with most was Cloth of Stars. I thought he did it very fluently. He's a gorgeous looking horse, and yeah, he ticked the boxes for me, but there was nothing wrong with what Wings of Desire did. I think he's probably quite a lazy individual. I thought it was a workman-like looking gallop, but heck, on this day last year people weren't coming away massively impressed with Golden Horn, and he went on to be quite good.
And Mark, would you go along with that? Wings of Desire, not so impressive, but Cloth of Stars, the main one to take out of this?
I wouldn't be so hard on Wings of Desire. I thought the interesting point was Andrew Cooper mentioned afterwards there that he would have called the ground pretty much soft today, which, if you recall what John Gosden said at York, he'd never run him on soft and he'd hate it. So it's you know, you have to keep that in mind. Cloth of Stars was interesting because it was clear that his piece of work was actually more about what happened up at the top of the highest point of the course there rather than what happened here at the end. It was clearly an educational trip over. He practically walked over the line, but it was all about what happened over there and getting himself home. And I agree with Lee, he's some horse to look at.
And one horse we didn't see here, but there's been a big buzz about, is Ulysses. You've already tipped him, Lee.
Yeah.
And what's the rumours about him? There's a big buzz about this horse.
Yeah, I mean, well, we heard from Sir Michael Stout in the interview process at Breakfast with the Stars, and he doesn't say a lot, Stouty, but he used the phrase, "I would certainly be hopeful of his chance." And I think in Stout speak, that is fill your boots. And Frank Dettori came straight afterwards. He said there were good vibes in Newmarket about the horse. I thought he was wildly impressive in his maiden at Newbury. Yes, it was only maiden, second, third and fourth hadn't run before, but visually I thought it was a really taking display, and just the fact that Stout is prepared to run a horse in the Derby straight off the back of a maiden win, that reads well. And of course, crucially, in 236 years of Derby history, no winner has begun with a U, so we're due one, and it's Ulysses, I think.
And is he still your selection?
Oh, absolutely.
So Ulysses for Lee, and for you, Mark, who wins the Derby?
I thought Lee was taken with Sir Michael, but I thought Jim Bolger was very interesting in what we just heard there. He was extremely confident with his horse, said he wouldn't swap him for anybody else in the lineup. And there's a swagger about Godolphin at the moment this season, I think, since there was the quotes at the start of the year about John Ferguson giving them a kick up the backside and getting it going again in the right direction. They've won a few big pots so far this season. There just seems to be, in the nice new Under Armour gear they've got on, there's a bit of a swagger about them, and I can see a Godolphin winner, and I think Jim Bolger certainly didn't do anything to put you off back in his today.
Okay, well, I'm with you there, Mark. Moonlight Magic is my Derby selection. Many thanks, guys. Do stay up to date with all the latest Investec Derby Festival news right here on racingpost.com.